Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and o' thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God.
Let's edify. You have no audio. That's because I muted your mic. When you came in and added yourself to the stream, you added yourself to the stream over the video. So you're going to have to unmute your mic, you know. Now. Oh, he's going to be a silent partner all night.
Hello.
Oh, rats. Dispelled that idea real quick. Hey, CJ, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, brother. How are you?
Tired, kaput,
Had a
bushwhacked.
busy day. Had a busy day.
Oh, boy, howdy. Boy, howdy. But, I mean, it was a good day. Like I told you earlier, when I was telling you deciding whether or not I was going to be here, my brother-in-law was stopping by on his way down to Arizona, and what ended up happening was he decided to stop by and was going to just pop in and say hello, basically spend a few minutes at visiting with us while we were at mom and dad's. Which, mom and dad's is only a few miles off the interstate anyway. But hey, Debbie, what ended up happening is that he beat us down there, got down there before we did, or before I did anyway. Amy took off and went to meet him there. But in making the plans to meet us there, mom and dad invited him over for lunch. So they ended up staying and having lunch with us, and I think they spent about almost 3 hours there with us.
Wow.
So Debbie can't stay. Those ankle biters need to go to bed. But love you, love you too, sister.
Love you, sister.
Glad that you could stop in and say good evening.
I'm just making sure that I have this headset on, and am I actually feeding through my headset?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think I am. So,
why would you want to feed through your microphone? I mean, come on, man. You're supposed to eat through your mouth.
I'm just gonna ignore that.
The worst thing you can have is actually eating through an IV. But I mean, feeding through a microphone, that must be a terrible. I mean, imagine having to eat through your ear. That would be terrible.
Acts chapter 23.
Debbie says, "Behave, CJ."
you don't have to tell me. You gotta tell this guy.
You mean that one? Oh wait, that one.
Not that. There he goes.
You notice that there's like three fingers and a thumb pointing in your direction.
Nope.
I will not behave. I don't know that person. I don't want to be that person. I will be Levi.
It's getting worse.
And the way it's spelled, isn't it behave?
The English language is dumb.
True that.
I think we've already.
CJ froze. Oh no, he's an ice cream cone. We're gonna call him Olaf. Hey, Shua, we got Olaf on here. Come look at Olaf. See, it's Olaf. Want to say hi to Debbie? Are you eating my Rice Krispie bar? Huh? The one that came off Mom's plate? You know, that's a good picture of you, though, Olaf. She got her aunt to do her hair. My next younger brother's aunt, or not aunt, my next younger brother's wife. It seems like every time that they go over that we get together, the girls ask her, Aunt Arena, could you please do my hair? Oh yeah, she needs it worse than I do, don't you say, Debbie? Hey,
That
Olaf, welcome back.
that's not cool. My Mac restarted and I got a message. That Mac had a problem and it was. Do you know what an AP watchdog is?
Nope.
Something with my AP watchdog. I don't know. I'm back. That's
It
not
could be an access point.
somebody's breaching my
Trying
computer.
to. That could be. That's not the only thing AP stands for, but that could be.
I don't know.
See, Debbie says, "Okay, Frozen Marshall, I need to go."
I have.
Instead of CJ, it's Freezy.
Did I just freeze up or did I actually leave?
You were frozen for quite a long time before you finally left. That's why we called you Olaf.
Ah,
Well, I
uh,
like warm hugs.
so I don't know what to do about that. I mean, I got nothing right now. Uh,
Well, right now
uh,
we're just going to continue on with Acts chapter 23.
I'm just hoping that it's not gonna do it again. So
That's right.
if it does, I'll go to Plan B.
What's that, a brick?
My phone.
It looked like a brick. I thought you were going to throw it at the MacBook.
Yeah, Plan B. Alright, Acts chapter 20.
Love you, Debbie. You have a great night.
Acts chapter 23, lesson number 180 in Acts.
Hold on. I heard a voice from the distance saying, "Give me a moment."
Tech. I heard a voice from Levi's office. Give me a moment or two.
What's your youngest brother doing?
If,
Okay.
every, if everybody's busy, I can plug in my monitor and run
Um,
Bible.
uh, we have tech coming. It was just, give me a moment.
Okay.
But it's coming. They just give her a moment. Hmm.
Well, while we're doing this,
He doesn't go around it.
I would like to apologize. I did not put I did not put up the notice that we wouldn't have your class. Shame on me.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't have the class today. Join us next week. There's your notice. You You
Uh huh.
want me to
Time
put
to make
some?
up one with Don and Al. Terrible. See, they have their one match,
Uh huh.
one match.
Conversing with the head gardener. Hang on. And the head construction.
Chief.
Chief of construction.
Yeah. They did like 196s for slats. And they signed it over with cedar shakes.
Uh huh.
So, gotta pop all the cedar shakes off the fan. I'm gonna keep the ones that are good because more insulation.
Right.
Underneath and evaluate. And that's where you realize you have to check out.
I was to be here. Oh. Brother-in-law was.
I'm out there working. Here's one.
Did you find the nest?
I had not, but I didn't see it. And it was not happy when I started hammering it with the metal. So I think
Okay.
they're in the old wood we brought.
Then that's where we're going to start searching and delving and soaking. Okay. Sorry about that. We had to convert.
Do you want me to start reviewing or wait till we get the Bible up?
She should be coming in. Where is she at? Is she not in the office? She was in the office. She was not the one that's supposed to be tech. So go ahead and start reviewing, I guess.
So
She'll get here soon enough.
So in Acts chapter 23, we have that plot against Paul in Jerusalem, in Jerusalem.
Yes.
Where are we at here?
I
Yeah,
was there.
in Jerusalem, basically, he's before the Pharisees and the Sadducees, and he starts this big fuss about the resurrection, essentially, because he says, I'm on trial for the resurrection of the dead, and obviously
Right.
the Sadducees didn't believe there was a resurrection, and the Pharisees did. So that resulted in them being very mad at each other, arguing with them, and basically wanting to tear Paul and limb. And so the commander saves Paul, but then he's spared from death again in 11 through uh, 22 because there's this plot that some Jews banded together that they wouldn't eat until Paul's dad, and what do you know it, Paul's nephew, Paul's young nephew hears about this plot and saves Paul's neck, uh, and tells the commander about the plot. And in verse 22, we have this statement. So the commander will let the young man depart and commanded him, tell no one that you have revealed these things to me. And so we talked about the value of young ones and how his young nephew saved his life. And so there's going to be a letter about that uh, sent
Hi,
to
Ruel.
sent to Felix, right?
You're getting ahead of yourself.
Well, that's today's section.
Right. That's not a review.
Right.
You
And that's what we're
can't review something we haven't done.
That's what we're getting ready to do. Getting ready to read this letter that is sent to Felix.
We're picking up in verse 23. Ready to go. 23 through 30, if you would, CJ.
All right. And he called for two centurions, saying, "Prepare 200 soldiers, 70 horsemen, and 200 spearmen to go to Caesarea at the
Hi,
third
Sam.
hour of the night." And what?
I said, hi, Sam.
Oh, okay. And provide mounts to set Paul on and bring him safely to Felix the governor. He wrote a letter in the following manner: Claudius Lysias, to the most excellent Governor Felix, greetings.
27, Alicia.
This man was seized by the Jews and was about to be killed by them. Coming with the troops, I rescued him, having learned that he was a Roman. And when I wanted to know the reason they accused him, I brought him before the council. I found out that he was accused concerning questions of their law,
29.
but had nothing charged against him deserving of death or James. And when it was told me that the Jews lay in wait for the man, I sent him immediately to you, and also commanded his accusers to state before you the charges against him. Farewell.
All right, so we pick up in verse 23, and what we see is some military um, maneuvers, military information. First off, the chief captain, he was in charge of all military matters in Jerusalem. This was not the governor, but rather he would answer to the governor. And he calls unto him two centurions. Centurions, of course, being those who were over 100 men. So he had two centurions, and he says, make ready 200 men, soldiers, to go to Caesarea. He wanted 200 soldiers. He wanted 60, that's 60 and 10, so that's 70, basically. 60 and 10, a score being 20. So 70 spearmen, or 70 horsemen, rather, and 200 spearmen. So the company we have is a lot more than just 200 horsemen.
Right. We have 200 spearmen plus, right?
We have 200 spearmen plus 200 soldiers plus 70 horsemen.
Right.
So what we have is a total of 470 soldiers. Now, what he means initially by the first group of soldiers is footmen. These are men that are going to be walking a long distance.
By the way, how many men are they guarding?
One. But how many men are they guarding against?
Exactly.
You remember that what are the Jews notorious for?
Ambushes.
Ambushes.
Yeah.
Now, he's got this many men, and what we also see then is that he's got 470 men, and they're setting forth when?
At the third hour of the night.
Alicia, we're in 23. At the third hour of the night. What time would that be?
9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken.
You're exactly right, because remember the first hour of the night is 6 p.m.
Right.
And remember, the Jewish clock always operates on evening and morning. It does not operate on morning and evening like
Right.
our American time or most of the world does today. It operated on evening and morning because what was first? If we look at Genesis chapter 1, what you see is that when God created the heavens and the earth, darkness was first,
Right.
and then God made light. And hence, what you have is evening and morning were the first day. Well, and
Right.
that's the way that the Jewish timetable was set up from thereafter.
Yeah, that's right.
So 6 o'clock was their first hour. The third hour will be 9 o'clock. Not everybody would be in bed. However, most people would be. Good law-abiding citizens would be absolutely tired from the work of and the heat of the day, and so they would be in bed. But it's still good to be cautious because what are they worried about? This ambush from 40
Right.
Jews.
I was gonna bring that up, but I mean, you got from the outset, if you're not thinking about who this is, and by the way, I don't know how we missed this, or I missed this, but hey, hey, Ruel, did you say hi and I missed it?
Yes, you did. I said hi to Ruel.
Okay, I missed it. Hi, Ruel. And then it tells you a lot about the skill of the Jews to have 400 take on 40. You know, the guy's one man.
It does. It does. And
But,
there's nothing wrong with being, and it's not just Jews, as in these 40 they were worried about. Because once you leave the confines of Jerusalem, what you have to worry about is the hill country and thieves. You see, Israel, and no matter where you go in the world at this point in time, you had to worry about thieves.
right,
Why do you suppose Jesus told the parable of the Good Samaritan?
right. I was just about to bring that up, but that's a good point.
The parable of the Good Samaritan resonated with everybody because this was synonymous with the culture, with the time frame. Why do you suppose that Mary and Joseph were so concerned about Jesus back in Luke chapter 2? It's because they were traveling with all of their family, their extended family, from Nazareth down to Jerusalem. And now all of a sudden they had to go back to Jerusalem, find their son, and make the dangerous journey by themselves back to Nazareth without the protection of the group.
Right,
So that's the kind of situation that we're looking for. And yes, Sam, I said hi to you, and I don't know if he said hi, and it was right during the reading because he paused a moment.
Hi, Sam. Sorry, I just have like a one-track mind. You all know me. And,
He does. At least it's a one track and not a single rail.
well,
Um,
I was looking down at my Bible. Maybe
Instead
that
of looking up at the Bible on the screen.
maybe that's what was messing up Alicia.
Okay, so in verse 24, then, as we come through here, Claudius gives them orders to provide beasts for Paul, so
Right,
that Paul was not having to walk this distance. Time is of the essence. Safety is of the essence. Do you imagine what the reputation of Claudius would be if he lost his prisoner due to the guerrilla warfare of the Jews, especially if you have 470 soldiers guarding Paul, and Paul suddenly ended up dying while in the midst of them.
It's like, you know, similar to having 12 guards guarding 12 guys and them getting out the next day type thing.
Or even, what was it, 4 squads guarding one person and he walking out.
Right.
Okay, so let's look at the next uh,
I
next
don't,
verses. Go
I
ahead.
don't know if it's my computer or your mic's just really hot, but I'm getting some popping when you talk.
You getting some what?
Popping?
Might be yours. I don't know.
Okay. Never mind. Go ahead.
I hope it's not mine. Pop, 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 pop.
It's like a crackle.
Well, I am right next to the air conditioner, so
Maybe that's
it's
what.
over there. It's pointed that direction away from me, but that's not saying that there isn't a little bit of. Okay,
Oh,
so he writes a letter then after this manner. Verse 26 through 30 gives us the letter of Claudius Lysias. Sam says it's yours. It could actually be in your ear, in your
no,
speaker.
no. I'm not feeding my speaker through my ears. My
Oh,
mic's,
so it's coming through your MacBook.
yeah, interesting. May have to clean it or something.
Okay, Claudius Lysias.
Sorry.
To the most excellent Governor Felix, greetings. Now, we see a lot of. We learn a lot about. We forgot to take the watermelon with us.
We learned that from
We
this guy?
need to have watermelon tonight.
Huh.
Yeah.
Let me.
Let me show you what we learn about why we learned that from this text.
Does anyone?
Hey, hey.
Fine. Anyone want marshmallow?
Ooh, spicy.
Smell this one.
Save me some melon, O'Shea.
Well,
You got to make it out here.
actually, if you get here on time, there should still be some of them around. Not these ones, but some of them.
Either.
Hold on 1 minute.
If I was totally in sync, I could pick up the slack while he's muted, but I forgot where he was going. So
We
go
learn a
ahead.
lot about the culture through just this greeting. And you can shut that off, by the way. Thank you. Just by the greeting, how people treat each other, as well as what the political atmosphere is in this during this time period. For example, we see that Claudius Lysias, he's a chief captain, and he begins by putting his full name. It would be like, we would put our name at the end of a letter, correct?
Yeah.
And we typically put in something like sincerely or, devotedly yours, that type of thing. This, however, begins with, with the person writing. And then what they do is they
There you go.
got to show these.
What is that?
Cucumber.
Cucumber. Ah.
Mhm.
Squirrel.
Yes. Well, somebody's going to cut those up and make me some refrigerator pickles out of those. Um,
Ooh.
he continues on. He gives, the political aspect is, you always. Um, I'm trying to figure out the correct way to put that. Hello, Reba. You missed the cantaloupe, and of course, you may have come in on the cucumbers. I'm left holding the cucumbers. I don't know why. Uh, I don't know the correct way to put it would be to um, scratch the back. You always um, make nice
Oh yeah.
to other people. Okay.
Especially the governor. Uh,
Well, yeah, you want to. To the most excellent Governor Felix, you wouldn't, even though you may despise this particular person, you wouldn't go up and just say to Felix, greetings. No, 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 no. If you want your political career to go anywhere, if you want your career period to go anywhere, you will always use flowery language and try to make him feel good.
Paul,
And so, go ahead.
Paul in the next chapter, when he's before Felix, says, uh,
Most excellent Felix, most
uh,
noble Felix.
I believe so. I was trying to
Verse 3.
stop. But yeah, we accepted always in all places most noble Felix.
No, that was not Paul. That was Tertullus.
Right. Oh wait, Tertullus was the kind of Paul's speaker for Paul.
No, that was not the speaker for Paul. That was the speaker against Paul.
Oh right.
Then Paul in verse 10 beckoned and says all this other stuff.
I thought there must be a different time where he says most excellent Festus or Felix.
Well, there was Felix there in that chapter, but Festus, I believe he does say something to that effect.
Right, but go ahead, sorry.
But, there's nothing wrong, obviously, with most noble Festus or Felix, that type of a thing. It actually, it also calls into or acknowledges their position. So, for example, what was it?
Great, I brought up another rabbit. I wanted an example. Now I got you looking too.
Yeah, let's see here. It was with King Agrippa, not with Festus.
Oh, Agrippa.
So there he counts himself happy, King Agrippa. Let's see here. In 25, while he's talking in chapter 26, verse 25, while he's talking to King Agrippa, Festus calls out and says, "You are mad." And then Paul responds to Festus saying, "I am not mad, most noble Festus, but speak forth the words of truth and soberness." So
Okay.
he acknowledges the position of Festus.
Go. You see how loose we are? Sorry.
So,
Totally.
and again, what does Paul have to fear from Festus? Festus can't do anything to him.
Worst thing he can do is kill his body.
Nope, can't even do that now.
He,
Why? He can't, because Paul, as a citizen of Rome, has
oh,
appealed unto Caesar.
that's right.
So, by that appeal, he is bound by law to go to present his case to Rome.
Right.
Sam fell asleep last night so he missed devotion, and now he has to go to town, so he's going to have to um, miss us again. Hey, I'm left holding the cucumbers for some reason. Um,
Um, when you're done with verse 26, I got something else I want to tie in there.
Go ahead for the moment. Here,
Uh, well, he says, Claudius Lucius to the most excellent Golden Felix greetings. Well, this is consistent with Paul's discourse about what we ought to do when we go before, when we submit ourselves. This is what submitting ourselves to the governing authority looks like. He says at the end of the chapter, at the end of the section, verse 1, whatever shall be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and the authorities that exist are appointed by God. And then he talks about how God has given the government certain authorities, and then he says in verse 7, render therefore to all their due taxes to whom taxes are due.
you're in what chapter?
Romans 13:7 now.
13:7. Because you didn't make it clear as to what chapter you were in, or even where you were at. Romans
Thir-
13:7, Alicia. Sam says, I want to say love you both. That's why I came online, because you guys make a difference to me.
well, thank
Love
you.
you too, Sam.
That's encouraging. We love you. 13:7 render therefore to all their due taxes to whom taxes are due, customs to whom customs, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor. And so we see him living out his teaching and honoring. Uh, well, we don't see Paul doing it in this section, but the uh, principle applies when he does do that later.
Yeah, we have to be careful because this is not Paul.
Right.
The steel would actually damage the slats in there. So no. Um,
I
what we so I mean, the greeting is it can be the greeting when you're writing a letter like that is not necessarily honor. Um, but it is it is principally an address, like you're saying. No, your brush is better.
well, I think there's
So
a
I mean, it is an address recognizing that he needs honor, but a lot of it is what, like I said, is making nice. It's a political maneuvering.
right.
And so we have to, we want to be, we want to draw that conclusion that we do need to give honor to whom honor. Um, but we also want to be careful that we don't read too much into anything. Because you're right, we do need to give honor to whom honor. But what Lysias is doing, Claudius is doing right here, is really just some hand kissing, if you will.
Well,
Because remember, in Roman culture, if you want your career, if you don't want to be stuck in the backwater of Jerusalem for the rest of your military career, you need to kiss the hand that feeds you,
right.
not bite it. You need to kiss it.
I agree with that. But even in his hand kissing, there's some, at least the way it's worded, some degree of honor that's
Yes.
said in the text, whether or not that's totally genuine by the writer here or not. But the
We
point
can, yeah,
stands,
like you said, we can draw the principle.
right?
When we read this, we can draw a principle, whether we want to say that he was doing it. I mean, what we don't necessarily even have to say that he's doing that, but we can say we need to give honor, even in our writings, in our speech, in our writing, in our action. We need to give honor to whom honor is
Right,
due. And Claudius Lysias is a soldier, pure and simple. Soldiers are taught to recognize a chain of command.
right,
You don't go above that. You always follow that chain of command and you give that honor. Now, Roman politics, Roman military politics was very bloody. Um, Roman politics, Roman chain of command usually ended with a knife in the back. In some way, whether you're talking physical or literally or figuratively, it usually ended with a knife in the back. And we can the history bears that out. How many times did an emperor die because somebody got a little more ambitious than his station wanted and warranted? Um, but I digress. Let's continue on. 27.
we probably spent way too much time over thinking that simple greeting.
Well, and it's a good thing to look at as well. But
Right,
27 through 30, here is the letter. This man was taken of the Jews and should have been killed of them. Then I came with an army and rescued him, having understood that he was a Roman. Claudius, again, is making himself look better than he is, than what history tells us. Okay.
oh yeah,
He did not know that Paul was a Roman.
no, he didn't. Actually, Paul had to tell him he was a Roman, right? At,
Initially,
at first he thought he was Egyptian, right?
right, verse 38 of Acts 21. Acts 21, verse 38. Are you not the Egyptian who some time ago stirred up a rebellion and led the 4,000 assassins out in the wilderness? No,
No,
I'm not. I'm a Jew from Tarsus. Okay, wait a minute here. Paul doesn't even initially tell him he's a Roman. I'm
right.
a Jew from Tarsus of Cilicia, or in Cilicia. Okay.
And he says, oh, when I rescued him, I knew he was a Roman.
I came and rescued him because I understood he was a Roman.
Right.
So, in other words, there was an uproar. These Jews took this person, this Roman, and because he was a Roman, I come and rescued him.
Right.
And no. Claudius, you're full of baloney, as we say here in the Midwest.
So he's kissing up to the governor, 26. He's fabricating stories, verse
He's twisting the
27.
truth.
Right, right,
He has,
twisting.
you know, he hasn't actually fully came out and lied. He's just twisted the facts.
Right,
He did understand that Paul was a Roman, but not until after he had rescued him.
that's right.
He did actually come with an army and rescue him.
But it wasn't
You know,
because of
and it
the.
was after these Jews had taken him and would have killed him.
You know, I wonder. It seems like in Acts 21, he just feels bad for this guy and wants to create order again. Like, hey, don't do that. You know, there's not this heroic reason for him to rescue Paul in Acts 21, is there?
Well, he wanted to restore order because there was a riot going on in Acts 21.
But,
So
but,
as we go back to Acts 24 or 23, though, he's writing to make himself look good.
but it's almost if Claudius says, I knew he was in danger, and this guy's a Roman. I rescued him because he's a Roman. I'm just such a good governor. Or
Not a good governor.
such a good commander.
Yeah. Well, imagine if you would, what would the response have been if he had let the riot go on, Paul had died, and then they had found out he was a Roman?
He'd probably be uh, dead. uh,
Well, he would have been demoted. He
but
would have lost his command, and he would have been severely punished. Not death, but they would have been like, well, why didn't you rescue him? I didn't know he was Roman. Why didn't you know that he was Roman? Why did you let the riot go on? You are tasked with keeping order in this,
but
you know. All right.
uh,
So,
I mean, riots didn't look good anyways, but if you have a riot from the Jews, that really doesn't look good.
well,
The
and I mean,
Roman.
remember Jerusalem and the Jewish province and this is historically what it was a place that was the death of political careers. In fact, until Pontius Pilate, there were no successful Roman governors to have ever escaped unscathed politically from Jerusalem. Historically, the Jews were rebellious, they were factious, they were known to kill any Roman interloper. And Pontius Pilate was well on his way to that very end until the incident with Jesus. You noticed that it said that he and Herod became fast friends.
Right.
That was the turning point. And if I recall my history correctly, I may be wrong, but if I recall correctly, Pontius Pilate actually was able to turn his career around and escape Jerusalem for a much more politically beneficial province.
Hmm.
Um, because of that, because he was able to quell the Jews and was able, to control them. Now,
But by giving in, uh, of course, none of these guys had major backbones. Yeah.
well, he gave in to the Jews, on a whole, but he still ended up ruling with an iron fist. But he ruled, but he was, I should say, but he was friends with Herod,
Right.
and Herod was the king of the Jews. So Herod had, basically, he was the ruler that, kind of tacitly gave orders, or had the Pharisees and Sadducees in his back pocket, as it were.
Was that? No,
Not
this
always,
is.
but kind of.
No, no, too many rabbits. I was gonna say, was that the Herod that. I think it was a different Herod than the Herod that killed John, right?
No, it's the same.
Same Herod? Okay. Yeah.
There were, I believe, I know
Four,
of at least three Herods. There may have been
three,
more.
three. Okay.
All right, so this man, we have that. Then the next one, verse 28. When I would have known the cause wherefore they accused him, I brought him forth into their council. Okay, that's true. We know that. Alicia, we're back in 23, verse 29.
Yep, that's in what?
That's in the earlier part of this chapter.
Yeah, 1 through 10.
Whom I perceive to be accused of questions of their law. Okay. But had to have nothing laid to his charge worthy of death or of bonds. He's like, okay, when I brought him before the council, I found out that they were upset over some question concerning their law, and nothing regarding bonds or death.
So at that point, it should have been not his problem, right? Because it's a Jewish thing at that point. And then,
Yes and no, because would the Jews be allowed to kill a Roman out of hand or
no,
without a proper Roman trial?
no,
Did their law supersede the Roman law?
no.
No.
So, so really, it's like, not my problem, but it's my issue.
But, well, you notice that he had done nothing worthy of death or bonds.
Right,
So it was a matter of their law, but it's not worth death or bonds. So they couldn't kill Paul, but they were trying to. And they couldn't imprison him, but they were trying to.
right.
And Claudius says, I don't feel right having him in bonds, in chains. And I can't put him to death. He's not causing an insurrection.
Right.
He's not trying to lead a revolt against Rome.
Right. There was nothing under Roman law he was doing.
Right. So in verse 30, then, he says, and when it was told me how that the Jews laid wait for the man, I sent straightway to thee, and gave commandments to his accusers also to say, or to say before you what they had against him. Verse 30. So he says, okay, so I was going to let him go. He'd done nothing worthy of death or bonds. So essentially, I wasn't going to let him go, or I was going to let him go.
Right.
But the Jews were laying in wait for this man to kill him. Well, it was to laying in wait. That's what the implication behind laying in wait for the man is.
Right.
Um, so, in order to protect him, Claudius says, I sent him immediately to you. Now, Felix would have come to Jerusalem because that's what he had to. Eventually, he would have come to Jerusalem to conduct business there, to take care of, this. So it's very possibly that Claudius would have kept Paul in bonds and chains to reserve for Claudius's judgment, which is more than likely what would have happened. But because of what the Jews were doing, he had to get him out of town.
Right.
And the best way to save Paul's life was to do exactly what Claudius did, and that is send him to Felix. Some might say, well, that was kind of a waste of funds, military funds, to send this one prisoner by the hand of 470 soldiers. Well, you got to understand, they're paying the soldiers anyway.
Right.
The soldiers didn't get extra pay just to guard this this one man. So he sent them on their way.
I mean, they didn't care as long as they got paid.
Right. And they were going to be faithful to their duty anyway because of, the other rules regarding loss of prisoners, etc.
Oh yeah.
So Claudius Lysias concludes his letter by saying, I sent him there to protect his life. Farewell. Then, I sent him there to protect his life, and I commanded all of his accusers to come and lay their charges before you. Basically, I'm shunting my responsibility off on you.
I was about to say that. I was gonna ask you. It sounds like to me that he's playing past the buck here.
In some ways, he is, but in other ways, that's exactly what a governor is supposed to do. Right? He's the one that's supposed to handle these bigger issues.
Right.
So, therefore, Claudius then ships him off. Now, let's read 31 to 35.
Then the soldiers,
If Alicia could scroll, thank you.
then the soldiers, as they were commanded, took Paul and brought him by night to Antipatris. How do you say that?
Antipatris.
Antipatris. The
Good job.
next day they left a horseman to go on with him and returned to the barracks. When they came to Caesarea and had delivered the letter to the governor, they also presented Paul to him. And when the
Come on, Alicia, stay on Esword and let's roll.
governor had read it, he asked what province he was from. And when he understood that he was from Cilicia, he said, I will hear you when your accusers also have come. And he commanded him to be kept in Herod's praetorium.
Interesting points here. Hold on 1 minute while I pursue something.
I should have got my map. I didn't know we would be traveling.
Now, okay. So what we have here again is more military information, historically accurate. The soldiers did as they were commanded. Of course, they're soldiers. They're going to do what is commanded by their chief captain.
Right.
All right. They took Paul, brought him by night to Antipatris. So that's as far as they got before morning. All right. Now, on the morning, on the morrow, on the next day, they left the horsemen to go with him. So all the foot soldiers, all the spearmen, they all left. They went back home. They went back to Jerusalem. Whereas the horsemen, the 70 guys with their spare horses, went on from there. And they went to Caesarea. Now, it's not going to take them very long to get from Antipatris to Caesarea. So what we have is, if CJ had his map, what you'd see is that we basically came through the hill country, went over to Caesarea. Don't worry about it. We don't have much long length of time left.
Okay.
So they
Sorry,
brought
but
them to the most perilous area where there would be ambushes or thieves waiting to waylay anybody. And so the horsemen then in verse 33, they get to Caesarea. This is down by the coast. Okay. This is not up in the mountains. This is not, this is down by the coast. Paul has been in Caesarea once before on his way up to Jerusalem. But they deliver Paul and the letter to the governor. And the governor then reads the letter. And he says, okay, where are you from? Now, we remember Paul in telling, back in Acts 21, told the governor, or not the governor, the chief captain, that he was of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city. So we know then that Paul is from Tarsus, a citizen in the province of Cilicia. And when Felix hears that, he says, okay, I will hear you then when your accusers also come. And he then commands Paul to be kept in the judgment hall of Herod, otherwise known as the Praetorium. I love how they just simply transliterate, the New King James just simply transliterated the word, the Praetorium, rather than actually translate it. The King James translates it as judgment hall. This is the judgment hall of the Herod that we see back in Acts chapter 12. Do you remember which Herod that is?
I don't.
Okay, I'll refresh your memory. And when Herod had sought for him and found him not, he examined the keepers, commanded that they should be put to death. And he went down from Judea to Caesarea and there abode. Does that ring a bell? Alicia, Acts chapter 12, please. Verse 20 is where we're going to pick up. And Herod was highly displeased with them at Tyre and Sidon, but they came with one accord to him.
Oh yeah, this is the guy that was eaten with worms and died.
Right. This is that Herod. This is his hall.
I got it.
Okay. Now, the fourth Herod, fourth, I think it's the fourth Herod, is the Herod that we see here. It's either the third or the fourth that we see here in Acts 23, or not Acts 23, Acts 25 or 6. King Herod, which is, or no, King Agrippa. Sorry, never mind. So this is that Herod. This is his judgment hall that Felix has taken over. This is the provincial, the governor's palace, if you will.
Right.
And that is where Paul is being kept right now, here uh, in Acts chapter 23 and verse 35.
Boy,
So,
we left him last week in custody. We left him this week in custody.
yes, the only thing different is that we've changed location of custody.
Right.
We've also changed the custodian. So we went from Claudius Lysias now to Felix, governor. So, what a wonderful way to end the chapter. We're cliffhanger.
That's right. Well,
Anything else to add?
No, a good study. Thank you. Thank you everybody for being here, and I look forward to next week.
Yeah.
See what good things we can say then about chapter 24.
All right. Remember, next week is also the beginning of our Genesis class and study to show yourself approved next Monday at 6:30, not at the regular 6:30 Eastern. Sorry, 6:30 Eastern time, not at the 4 o'clock Eastern time. Be sure to tune in tomorrow evening for CJ's final episode of his Pillars of Faith. I think it is, right?
His eternal plan.
Well, I like the Pillars of Faith better. His eternal plan. There was 3 pillars.
That's right. Be sure you come, or else it'll be a awkward class. It's gonna be a review game, so
It will be an awkward class if you're not there. So
that's right. Mm-hmm.
So, anyhow, we hope and pray that you have indeed been edified by your time and study tonight with us. Hopefully, right, CJ? Because that's one of the 3 things that we try to do here at CEM, right?
Right.
What are those 3 things?
We want to glorify God, edify you, His saints, and answer any spiritual questions you may have.
That way.
Thank you all. Go ahead.
Okay. That way, whether we wake tomorrow to serve Him here on this earth or we wake tomorrow to serve Him up there, you know where we'll be, because we'll see you then. God bless.